Hello and welcome to this episode of Speaking About Speaking. And once again, I have a full screen. So welcome to the screen, Christophe Stourton, Mark Masters, Westrow Cooper. Thank you for being here. Without
hello everyone.
Hello. We are here today to talk about speaking and why the people out there watching us should be speaking to their audiences. So perhaps before we start, we'll just go around quickly. And if you wouldn't mind just introducing yourselves and saying what you do and why speaking for your business or for your own personal reasons is a good thing to do, why you wanted to get started in the speaking realm. So Christophe, can we start with you?
Well, I mean, I used to see the transformation. I used to sit here and go, well, if she comes to me first, I'm going to go into a panic. But seeing as I've been now at the Speaker Club several times, it doesn't faze me at all. What I love to do is to see small businesses create project-driven businesses, create value, long-term value within their businesses. And by project driven, I mean anybody from creatives to building firms, people who work on projects predominantly. So that's what I love to do. I love to witness people transform their kind of hobby or their expertise or their technical ability into a business that's worth something that they can sell or bequeath or get excited about. And I guess when you're in that situation, in any situation, you need to be able to be aware of what you're doing and you need to be able to express it. And the expression bit of that, the pitching bit of that, the bit that tells everybody what you do in such enthusiasm, so that you don't just say, I'm a business coach, is important. So being able to express it confidently in any situation, whether it's on paper or in front of an audience, but let's face it, when you're putting something up on the online, that is in front of an audience, as far as I'm concerned, is a vital skill. So coming to the Speaker Club is a way of honing that vital skill. We can't do without it. I hope that makes sense.
Absolutely brilliant. Thank you, Christophe, and welcome, Mark. You literally popped on as we went live there, so thank you for being here. So introduce yourself.
Hello, good to see you. Good to see you, Westrow and Christophe. So I'm Mark Masters, marketing consultant, but also have the You Are the Media community. And You Are the Media represents how we can learn, how we can come together, and this thing around self-sufficiency and how we can promote ourselves and the work that we do. It just feels easier when we can do it with people around us and people join in rather than being in isolation. And so the reason, not just me, but for other people as well, is that when we want, similar to what Christophe was talking about, when we need to get a point across. I spent a lot of my life, my nature is always kind of over enthused and sporadic, and that has held me back, because that means that I wasn't necessarily taken seriously. You can still have fun, but you can still be taken seriously. And so when I say the reason speaking helps is that ability to get a point across, that we can still do it in an upbeat, fun way. But when we need to get the serious points across, I believe that we do need help and we do need advice, because those moments to pause are those moments that we need to get a strong point across. We can't be, and I believe now that you can't do it. It's just like straight like that. Let's just work like this, everybody, because no one ever takes time out to talk in front of a mirror or to have that quiet place. We don't. But the more that we do it, the more assured and the more confident that we become as well. So that's my little gambit for saying why speaking and presenting is important to all of us.
Yeah,
I was talking there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Brilliant. Thank you, Mark. Westrow.
Yeah, very connected to both what Christophe and Mark have said. I'm a freelance copywriter, and so I got to network both in person again and online, and you need to present yourself. And even if you don't have an ambition to speak before thousands. Just walking into a room full of people, if you know that you're able to speak to a group, able to do a presentation without too much hesitation, then your confidence is much greater, and you're much easier, much more at ease, and better able to present yourself, and better able to present yourself well, so that a few people might hire you now and again. Yeah, and you never know who is in the room. You never know where you may be just having a chat, and then you find out that person is actually the head of an advertising agency and is looking for a technical writer like yourself. So it's always good to, or at least I've found, it's always good to feel feel as confident as you can, and to brush up your skills. Since the pandemic, for example, everything was online for years. There was no live events, and now they're coming back again. Good thing, but now it's time to brush up your skills, really. Well, that's part of the reason why I joined the group last year.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's a good point, isn't it? And I do wonder whether, just to say, we've got Jennifer here as well. So all of you know Jennifer from the Speaker Club too. And Jennifer, we can't see you, but we can see your comments. So if you are anybody out there listening or has a question or a comment, please do put it in. We are here to answer your questions as well. Because we're all speaking from our own experience here. So if you've got anything you want to ask, then do. But I think that's really valid, West, about that. Do you think it's changed? Do you think it's more relevant now that we need to speak not just to an audience, but as you say, if you walk into a networking space and you can speak confidently on your subject or confidently about you and who you are, is it more relevant now to be able to do that after the pandemic? And is it something that's come out of the pandemic almost as a skill that people need more?
I'm not sure that it's a skill you need more, but it's a skill you need to have, just as you've always needed to have it, or you have missed out if you don't have it, because to miss out on presenting yourself well is to miss out on opportunities. And so whilst I think it's just as relevant always, because there weren't many live events, it's easy to become unfamiliar with actually being in a room with other people, or say if you are going to speak to a small group, to actually have people sitting or standing in front of you, just faces looking at you. Similarly on screen, that's even more not alienated, but people are just there on screen, and you have to perform for example, to present the piece of work you've just done.
Yeah.
And the better you are able to make a good show of presenting your work, the more likely the person paying for it is likely to be pleased.
Yeah, absolutely.
Keep hiring you.
Yeah. So Mark, obviously during the pandemic, I mean, you were very much used to standing on stage for the conference, for the You Are the Media events that you put on. When it all went online and you were then presenting to a room, however many people there were on the screen, how difficult was that to go from being in front of people to actually presenting on a screen? Did you have to present differently?
I can always remember, what did we do? We did something during the pandemic. I can always remember my soft skills, my small talk went out the window. There was one thing that we did. I don't know what it was. We did one thing when we collected laptops and computers to give to the local schools, so they could give to families that didn't have laptops and computers. And so, what a noble person, first of all. What a noble anecdote. I teed that up. I get a 10 out of 10 for that. Went to the schools, but I can remember going around to people. I can remember going to people's houses do you know what? And this chat just went out the window. So normally we find nice little ways to say hello and how's it going. I remember all that just went out. So you're learning again. We're all learning a new skill. So that thing when you're saying when we started it, when we're all locked indoors, it was weird because you can't gauge anything. It was what Westrow has just alluded to. I still find it really hard. You can't gauge feedback. You can't gauge a smile. And I always remember the first one we did, the first year of the media online that we did. And when we finished, it was great. It was a brilliant feeling. It was chaos. But there were 60, 70 people that were there on Zoom.
Yeah, it was my birthday too. Yeah.
When we stopped, probably the same on your side as well, it was silent. And it was just this thing of silence when the thing had finished. And you can't, and that's this thing I mean of learning new skills and being aware of new situations. We would sing at the end and all that silly stuff that we do, and then it would just stop. So I found it extremely difficult, but it just means that we do sharpen ourselves and these new skills that we learn and how we can address people. But my goodness, maybe it's for the better or for the worse, but it certainly exposed us to lots of different ways that enabled us to learn about our own behavior.
Yeah. I want to come back to you because it does interest me with you in particular, Mark, of that you were on stage as you were speaking, and then you came along to the Speaker Club to get that kind of feedback or whatever. So I'd like to come back and talk to you about that. But Christophe, before we move on, how was the lockdown for you and speaking for your business, and for how did it work for you?
I suppose there's two things, and listening to Mark and Westrow, it brings it home, is that when we're on screen, we kind of forget that we're performing, because here I am sitting in my little room and I've got the screen on and all that kind of stuff. And, there could be 60,000 people out there watching us now. Because you're so famous, Jackie, apart from anything else. And Westrow and Mark are also similarly so celebrity. So we're on screen, we're on stage now as we speak. And when you're live, the old glossophobia, as you introduced me to the word, Jackie, kicks in. And people start talking in strange nanu shazbak type language, and suddenly become inauthentic. They lose themselves. So in a way, this is quite good. This sort of intimacy that you have with a screen is fine because you don't get the same nerves. But people used to pay me to moderate events and speak on stage and stuff. But I was always dealing with someone else's subject. I was facilitating or learning a little bit about it, and then making sure that an event ran smoothly and asking questions and interviewing and all that kind of stuff. But when it comes to actually talking about yourself, that's when it really starts to become, the stakes are high, so to speak. So that's what makes me nervous. And that's why I think it's good to practice speaking on the subjects that you enjoy so that you become rehearsed in them, but not in a kind of fake, inauthentic way, but in a good communicative way, so that people can understand you, because that's your message. It's what you want to say. And hopefully you're talking to an audience who want to listen to it. So that's really, I suppose, the switch between being in this kind of lockdown mode where it's very easy somehow to talk on screen. You don't feel like you have to make an effort. Of course you do, and lots of people fell into that trap. And then moving on to a stage which is an event. It's however big or small it is, it's something that gets the heart racing and the glossophobia invading.
Yeah, no, that's a very valid point, because I've done that myself in lockdown. You're quite used to presenting and being on screen, and as you say, you're in your own space. You are feeling safe, and of course you try, but you don't. The nerves that kick in when you step on a stage or in front of an audience live is something completely different. So tell me, Mark, then how you feel sort of coming into something like the Speaker Club, any Speaker Club, whether it's Toastmasters, whatever. What's the benefit, do you think? Why do you need to work out your speaking muscles in that way when you've had the kind of experience of speaking on stages that you have?
Because it helps, and I'm picking up on here of what James highlighted in a comment. it all relates to this about when you speak, this message that it's delivered from. Here we go. Let's answer it now. So James said in his second sentence, when I speak, I'm driven to speak and deliver a message that is near and dear to my heart. And in relation to your question that you just asked here, it makes me sound all prepped. It's this. What works is when people, right, James, this is what I now know, is when people can associate what you share with an idea, okay? So for years I was swallowed in my profession this content marketing pill. But nobody else come on board with it, or certainly not the audience that I wanted. But if you find something that you believe in that is relatable to other people, then you lean into it. And the way that you lean into it means that you can talk with authority on what you believe in. Christophe's helped me loads. But the more that we understand the simplicity of it all, the more that we understand the simplicity of it all, we also recognize that that's also really hard as well. Sounding complex is easy, but this thing of simplicity is really, really hard. So coming into a room, sharing that, I had all these ideas in my head for years, all these ideas that flow through, but I could never share it properly, just the way that I am. And it's just kind of that ability to get that thing that you believe in that you can share from a way that's kind of calm, thought about, but you believe in. The more that you do it, and the more that you can share with other people, or just the simplicity of what we go through with you, Jackie, in terms of breathing, in terms of relaxing, in terms of how we address other people. So we know what we believe in, we know what we stand for, we know what's relatable to other people, and then we practice and fine art our skills of delivering that, so people think, I get it, I'd like to come on board that. That, my friends, is a skill in itself, and that's what we always want to be working at. So yes, that's my endorsement to anybody stepping into that space. That means addressing other people.
Yeah, no, I mean, go to James' point there about, is this a speaking a skill that you honed or developed? Yeah, you learn to develop it, and that's what getting into a space with other people in real life, coming into that space like you did, Mark, with all of these ideas, like you do, Christophe and Westrow. We all have lots that we want to say, lots and lots of stuff that we want to get across to our audience. But until you get in front of other people, and until you speak it out loud to other people, then you don't know whether what you're saying is being understood, whether what you're saying is simple enough. We all try to be sometimes that person that we expect other people think we should be and expect us to be. And actually the simplicity that you say is what is where you want to get to. And until you can do that in front of other people, you don't really know that. So it really is something you need to develop and work on. Wes, what's your take on that?
Yes, sorry, that's certainly the case of practicing. Well, there's that very famous letter. I'm sorry, the letter's so long. If I'd had more time, it would have been shorter. The key is it takes work and practice to make something simple. But I think more, I would also point to, there's speaking, you kind of presuppose that you know what you want to say, i.e. you've got a speech and you want to give it. But in fact, there'll be many times and many situations where you're going to be surprised. Someone's going to ask you a question, or you're going to be suddenly asked, would you like to contribute? And you have to have practiced not the answer to that question, but being able to respond to something you haven't practiced at all. And going to something like the Speaker Club gives you the opportunity both to practice that and to find out what you find most difficult. For example, I was couldn't continue when I picked you get a question for the minute questions about something like, what would you recommend about yourself? So, and like that, I always find difficult to say, I could tell you plenty, give a long speech on what's bad about me. But so you have to kind of, so that's the other valuable thing of practice is you get more practiced at the unexpected.
Can I add something?
Yeah,
just
of course.
to that, to what's been said as well? And it's something that occurred to me when I was thinking about what we were talking about today. Was when you build a product, you make one and you hope to sell thousands of them. When you're speaking on stage, you're communicating an idea and you're hoping thousands of people are going to listen to it. And that's how you amplify your message. And if you're rubbish about it when you're talking, then you're obviously not going to sell. So, in being asked to sit on a panel, as Westrow suggested, to sort of respond to something, you're still in that mode of your ideas and the way that you think, your personal brand, I think we would call it now, being on show in front of, and you only need to do one successful job to reach an awful lot of people when you're on stage. And that's an important dynamic because it really amplifies you and what you offer in the same way that an advertisement on television would advertise your product.
Yeah, brilliant. Mark's, you are on the screen, Mark. You could actually just speak, but you said here that you got Westrow to talk to a room of strangers on Friday.
Yes, I have. Yes, he is. So we're doing with the Creator Lab with a college. It's about writing and being better at writing. So I asked Westrow to come in and share his advice with a room of students that are part of Creator Lab. So we're getting it hot. We're getting it hot with him. Brilliant. Kind of in here. He's in here talking. He's having a good week. He's having a big week doing this now. Then in front of a group of people on Friday. So again, I'll come back, Jackie, and give you the scores out of 10 on Friday afternoon.
Brilliant. But I mean, would you have been confident to do that before the experience of the last few months at the Speaker Club?
No, I would have been.
Yeah, there it is.
Very much more reluctant.
That's the correct answer.
To say yes. I mean, and I had James remark it. I've never been uneasy about speaking in front of an audience. I'm completely the opposite. I have never been easy about speaking in front of an audience, and so. For me, it's been essential to practice in various groups over the years.
Brilliant. Oh, well, good luck.
And I'm reminded that in one of the speaker clubs, you talked about writing in a way that I'd never heard before, which was really don't lose that, because that was really moving. Actually, it was really.
Can you share it? What Westrow did? Yeah.
Yeah, Westrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's been some amazing stuff that's come out, because obviously everybody's come into that space that I think and I hope feels very safe and supportive, so that you feel that you can put these ideas across and get the feedback. So it's not just about the speaking, it's not just about the speaking practice, but it's the ideas. It's about getting an opportunity to put your ideas out there as well.
Yeah.
But I would like to ask as well, though, because I don't know how many of you expected when you turned up to the Speaker Club that we would be doing the breathing, we would be doing the warm up. I would get you to do sort of improv, out of your comfort zone stuff. How was that? And do you think it helps? Christophe, what do you think?
No and yes. I kind of had, having had some experience and actually worked with some actors before, prepping speakers for things. So I expected a bit of breathing, but we do a bit of yoga and a bit of shaking out and a bit of being ridiculous, which relaxes everybody. And yes, it's a very safe environment in which to do that. And as far as sort of doing improv and stuff, I mean, it was a bit scary, the first one, wasn't it? Frankly. and then it's become so much easier. And I think I said to you at the last one, I wouldn't feel so comfortable. I wouldn't be jumping at the chance to do it. I mean, there's been things that I've expected and things that have been wonderful surprises, and actually really helped with my ability to be able to respond in a sensible way to people's questions when I'm in front of an audience.
Good. Brilliant. Mark?
Yeah,
The
awful. Yeah,
improv.
really hard. I really struggle. It's good. It's nothing. And I've been open about it, but that kind of improv environment, I really I struggle with. But that's not there as a bad thing. It's just something that can sometimes make me. It's good. I've discovered lots of new things in the past 6 or so months. So this element of stuff that's on the hoof or quick, or these little exercises where you're sitting in the middle and people are talking at you, or you can't say a word, or you can't say something and just express a feeling or something like that. I do find it really tough. But again, the past few months have seen really good things. Like I've discovered the stuff around creative wellness as well. That's something completely different, but it's these different experiences that we're not familiar with. And my way to quickly answer this is this, Jackie and everyone. So we can either have this little candle, and we can either be part of this little flame, because that's our little comfortable bit, or you can go beyond that flame and what's further away. And that's the bit I'm alluding to. That's the bit that becomes uncomfortable. That's the bit that becomes, it is literally out of our comfort zone. But then the way of answering that then is that's also really good for us to put us in these environments, whether it is shouting at somebody or whether it is something that you're trying to deliver something in, or a minute exercise that you're not used to, you've never done before. So I find all these experiences really helpful, no matter how uncomfortable and unnatural that I feel that they are.
Right.
Next.
Next.
I'm gonna give you that now.
Oh, brilliant. It didn't.
Look
That
behind
sounded
me.
like you were going to carry on there. Apologies for leaving you just hanging there. Nice. Just to quickly for Jennifer, that's in the comments there. Jennifer, I thought you were away. Otherwise, I would definitely have invited you on. But I seem to remember you saying you were away. So apologies for you not being on the screen with us. But Jennifer's saying it's a way of pushing yourself to overcome my fear of speaking to an audience comfortably as possible. I think that's what you mean. So yeah, it's pushing yourself out of a comfort zone. It's putting yourself in a different environment, and it just, I would hope, helps you to, when you're in those awkward situations, to just speak off the top of your head, really. So in the last minute, sorry, Christophe, quick.
I just wanted to ask you what you had noticed as a difference for all of us who come to the.
I've definitely noticed your confidence, all of you, your confidence growing, and the fact that you can now, on the turn of a sixpence, just turn to the person next to you and start something and just talk. In the beginning, those 1 minute lucky dip questions that came out of the bucket, people would pause or would have to have time to think or whatever, or they didn't know what to answer. Whereas now everyone's quite happy to just talk. And that, I think, just makes you feel more comfortable. You all seem a lot more comfortable speaking now.
Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to go around quickly because we're in our last sort of minute or so. What's been a kind of an aha moment or a penny drop moment for all of you? Any of you? Westrow, anything for you? Anything that sort of surprised you? Or?
Well, I think mainly it's the old thing: feel the fear and do it anyway, and to find out that you can do it anyway.
Great.
And, I think that's the key thing of it all.
Yeah. Jennifer agrees with that, definitely. Mark?
Mine is the importance. My little light bulb moment is to get our points across, and then let those moments, that message that we want, to sink in before we move on to the next sentence. So that's been my big understanding, and how precious that is.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you. Christophe?
Big light bulb moment for me is that some of the stuff that I thought that I was saying really comprehensively, I've got feedback that that's not what I'm saying at all. And to have that ability to have feedback like that is like gold dust, really, because otherwise you just carry on prattling away and no one's understanding you.
Yeah, quite right. Quite right. You know, we all need those moments sometimes. Brilliant. And Jennifer says, not realizing I was standing up in front of you all and speaking naturally. And I think that's sort of, that actually
that's a big one.
was a big sort of moment of just speaking as yourself, speaking authentically. So brilliant. Thank you so much, all of you, for being here today. I'm going to quickly, because I have them, just because you are here, I'm going to say, Westrow, this is your life. This is your website. So if you want to get in contact with Westrow, if you need any copywriting done, then you can head there. If you want to check out You Are the Media and what Mark's created there in You Are the Media, Creator Day coming up in April, which I will be on the stage at. Should
we do the breathing again? Should we do the breathing again?
Do you want to do the breathing again?
Do we have? What do you think?
Do some breathing between now and then.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we will all be breathing definitely between now and then. But I will. I'm very happy to do that. Deadlineology is Christophe. If you want to find out more about what Christophe does, you can go there at deadlineology.com. And wire and cable supply. Oh, this is because John Jochen was going to drop in.
Where was it?
John, obviously, he had a meeting at 3:30, and I don't think he obviously had time to join us. But that was for you, John. And this is for me. This is mine. So if you want to find out any more about me or the Speaker Club, then go there. If as well, and I am, I'm muting this idea. I never know what that word is. I am going to be putting a Speaker Club online for free starting in February. So that's my idea, is to get a community together online, just to give everybody the opportunity to have a little bit of a feeling of what the Speaker Club environment is like, even though it will be online. So if you want to find out more about that, you can either, let me get rid of that. You can either scan that code and that will take you to the subscribe button, and you can subscribe and you will get all of the details through that, or come to Power to Speak. Brilliant. Thank you very much. Let's get rid of that. And again, thank you so much, all of you, for being here. And the next Speaker Club is on Thursday in Southbourne at the Brewhouse and Kitchen. If you are able to make it, then do go to Power to Speak and you can sign up there. But thank you.
Everybody should go.
Everybody should go. Everybody should go. Brilliant. Lovely. Thank you so much. I'll see you all next week.
Nice to see you, Jennifer.
Bye.
See you soon.
Cheers.